welcome back to my YouTube channel. To the one person who watches all my videos, I'm sure you've seen me on some platform, in some interview, describe how I went vegan. And that story goes, I turned an Earthling Ed video on to make fun of vegans because I was having a bad day. I was in my head and I was in a negative space. And 20 minutes into about an hour or so long video, I went vegan. When Earthling Ed asked the question, what do you value higher, taste, pleasure, or life? I internalized that question and decided to align my actions with my morals. Decided I couldn't stand being a hypocrite any longer, and I went vegan. So what I'm going to do is something a little bit different today. I'm going to watch that video right now, live, and give you a reaction to it, just start to finish. So we're going to do this live. I'm going to react live. So if I mess up, anything goes. It's staying in the edit. We're just going to splice the two together. I'm going to go picture in picture so you can see my live reaction. So to give you a tiny little bit of backstory on this, in case you don't know my story of how I went vegan. I was having a bad day at work. I owned and operated a retail shop at the time. It was doing poorly for about a month. We were like 5 years into this business, and it was a really slow day. No one had walked in. I retired to the back lounge to put some YouTube on. And you know how YouTube will suggest certain videos? I had never watched anything on veganism, so I don't know how exactly Earthling Ed got on my suggestions, but I saw the thumbnail of him debating a meat eater. I did identify with the meat eater. I wanted to put it on to make fun of vegans. I saw Earthling Ed standing there, and I judged the book by the cover, and I thought, oh, what is this pompous, arrogant prick, this horrible vegan? How is he going to prove that he's so much higher and mightier than me, right? And I turned the video on to totally get down on vegans and make fun of them. But I quickly started to identify with Earthling Ed, as all of these possible moral justifications that the meat eater spit out were debunked immediately. So without further ado, we're going to put this on. I'm going to react live to it and maybe give you some insight into my mentality at the time and how I internalize things. So here we go. I'm going to hit play and bam.
Jobs and they feel bad, and you know what I mean? Like I don't want anyone to feel bad for going about their day. 100%. And I know there's probably one guy who's just doing this job to feed his family or something like that. He comes in, he's just like, man, I'm a piece of shit. And he's going about his whole day feeling like a piece of shit.
And this video, mind you, is an hour and 7 minutes long. It's around the 20-minute mark, like I said, that I went vegan. So we're just going to go to the 20-minute mark. I'm not going to sit here for an hour and make you sit here for an hour plus and watch this video with me. And I'll probably skip ahead in the video a little bit to get to that mark a little bit quicker. But I will stop and give you some insight as we go. And I can already tell right now, it's been a while since I watched this video, but I can already tell he's sort of using the appeal to profit. And I just made a video about this like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I had a friend hit me up saying that, Pete, you shouldn't be proud to take money out of people's pockets, even though they're exploiting and abusing animals. And then that's what he's using right here. He's kind of saying, I feel bad for the slaughterhouse. They're outside of a slaughterhouse in this video, to give you some context too. He's basically saying, I feel bad for the slaughterhouse workers. They're just trying to feed their family. They're just trying to make a hard-earned living, an honest living. But, profit or profitability doesn't justify one's actions. I mean, an easy example is slave ownership, right? It was profitable for the slave owners to own slaves and force them to do labor, right? But that doesn't justify the action, right? Just because someone profits off of something doesn't mean that you should shut your mouth about it, or that you shouldn't speak up, or that you shouldn't fight against it. So already that's what he's using here. It's going to be easily debunked, obviously.
You guys, I'm not saying it's like, you know what I mean? You have your thing, you have your whatever like that. I feel bad for them. Yeah. Because, they're just doing their job. Sure. Mm-hmm.
Are you happy for us to start filming?
Of course, yeah.
Cool. I mean, look, I appreciate it, and the whole purpose of this is we have science.
And who do you feel worse for? The slaughterhouse worker, or the one that's getting their throat slit, right? You can't feel bad for the one getting their throat slit because they're not of your species? Come on, that doesn't make sense.
No hate for the drivers, no hate for the workers, and this is how we believe. I mean, for us, these workers are part of the system of exploitation as well. You know, a lot of the time they're lower income families, they come from immigrant families, and they don't always have the options and possibilities that many other people in society do, including myself and others. So, it by no means anything against them. I appreciate that. Obviously, they're going
they get taken advantage of too.
But it's more about the fact that we have to raise attention to what's happening in these places, and many people simply aren't aware. And to say this facility kills 500,000 animals a day is a huge number. I mean, how do you feel about that number? Do you think that's a high number of animals?
But it's a supply. It doesn't really matter what the number is.
Absolutely. So it's a supply and demand situation, right? So one thing that we want to do by being here is show people the animals, help them connect to the animals who've been killed for their products, and hopefully reduce that consumer demand, and in essence reduce the supply that's brought here.
Yes.
Bearing in mind that let's talk a little bit. I know you want to talk about health and stuff. We can do that as well. Let's keep it a bit broader.
No, you know what? We can keep it to whatever you want to talk about, man. I have a multi-opinion on everything.
Oh, my man.
Very, very educated.
That's the kind of thing I like. Yeah. So let's think about this then. So how do we justify doing these things to animals? What justification do we use?
People need food. The companies need to make money, dude.
And do we need, in terms of food, do we need to eat chicken to live?
No, but I want to.
Okay, and
not specifically me, but let's just say, like, if I was talking for the quote-unquote human race, whatever you want to call it, some people don't want to, you guys, and some people do want to, right? And we should educate them on it, but if they still want to make good decisions or bad decisions, which you guys would say.
Okay, so it seems like we're getting into the second attempt at a moral justification, which is personal choice, right? And we know, you've heard me say it before, personal choices cease to be personal choices once there's a victim involved, right? That's why you can't say it's my personal choice to kick my dog. It's my personal choice to stab that guy. You know, personal choices are when they deal with only you personally, right? Once there's someone else involved, it's no longer personal.
I believe people have the right to do that.
Do you apply that to anything else in life? If someone wants to do something, are they automatically justified to do it?
100%, as long as they're not imposing on other people's freedoms.
What about the freedom of the animal?
Other people's freedom. What about the freedom of the animals?
I don't believe in the freedom for the animals. We're number one.
Humans, animals.
Humans, animals? Honestly, we're number one.
We're number one. He said it twice already, so now he's moving on to might makes right. And obviously we all know that might doesn't make right. If that were the case, we'd all be pro bully, right? If I can impose my will on you, it doesn't justify me to do so. Just because I'm 6'3", 200 and something pounds doesn't mean that I get to do whatever I want to someone who's smaller or weaker than me, no matter what species, my species or another species.
Are we animals?
Oh yeah, we're animals.
So what makes us...
We're the best animal.
But in what sense are we the best? What makes us the best?
Well, the fact that, like, you guys are all recording me on devices that have taken literally hundreds of years to collaborate together, I think we're doing better than the monkeys.
So intelligence defines worth of life?
I wouldn't say intelligence defines worth of life, but
human supremacy.
Tell you who's the better one out of all of them. We are the apex predator.
So in a fight versus a lion, who would win?
A lion would kick my ass any day.
Okay,
but if you get lion society versus 3 guys, lions will lose every single time.
Yeah, with technological advancements.
Might doesn't make right.
Okay, but in
might makes right. There we go.
Because predators were allowed to do these things, there's an argument that might makes right.
I wouldn't say that might makes right, but since we're at the top, so we have to do the best for us. Now, would I
do the best for everyone
on your side and say, is this the best way to do it? Oh no. Oh my God, I would never say this is the best way to do it.
Okay, so he knows better.
So broken, so bad. We definitely all need to stop eating a lot of meat. Okay, we need to reduce a lot. We need to reduce our intake. Period.
So why do we need to reduce our intake?
Well, everyone's too fat, to be honest.
So health reasons?
Yes, health reasons. Everyone's much too fat these days.
Okay, and what is it about meat that is unhealthy for us then?
I wouldn't say meat is unhealthy for us. I would say sheer quantity of food.
But surely, like,
we're creeping into appeal to health.
You're not going to get overweight from it.
If you were to eat 3,000 calories of broccoli a day, which would be physically impossible,
right?
Yes. I
can do that.
Easier, but at the same time,
I can eat 3,000 calories of kale.
Right? You get sugar, you dump some sugar on that broccoli. Oh, I'm eating natural, right?
Well, there's different types of sugar. Okay,
you eat sugar cane all day, you're gonna get fat, buddy boy.
It's about calories in, calories out, right?
We could agree to that. No, and that's what I'm saying. We need to all reduce our calories.
Right.
Reducing meat would definitely be a big thing because Americans, Canadian culture, European culture is not too bad on meat. They're still pretty shitty.
Creeping into reducitarianism.
They're not as bad as the Americans.
So it sounds like he's gonna creep into reducitarianism. And a lot of people go down that path and they're like, oh, we just need to reduce the amount of animal products or animals that we eat. right? And that's when you don't take the ethical stance. If you're taking an environmental or a health stance, it's easy to go down that path. But if you take the environmental stance, I'm sorry, if you take the ethical stance, you're not gonna see it as a reducitarian, right? You're not gonna think, oh, I just need to reduce the amount of animals that I exploit or that I pay the hitman to kill. I'll just eat one cow a week or a month. You know, it's like if you're against anything else, if you're against racism, you're not going to think, oh, but it's okay for me to be racist like once a week. No, you just see it as wrong, so you don't take part in it, right? If you think that it's wrong to slit an animal's throat without necessity for your survival, then slitting one throat per month is not the way you want to go. You want to just avoid it wherever practicable or possible, right?
We definitely all need to reduce our caloric intake. Okay. And then what's going to be the byproduct of reducing our caloric intake is we're going to be eating less meat.
But the thing is, you can reduce caloric intake and still be satiated by eating plant foods, because plant foods are calorically, obviously have less calories in them.
Yes. Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So rather than reducing animal products, if we want to live a truly healthy life, let's eliminate animal products and get our calories purely from plant sources.
But how do you know for sure that's a truly healthy life? Because I don't know, because there's a lot of like any vegan athlete or any vegan people who are big in the thing usually are supplementing. I think I know maybe one or two vegan YouTubers who are 100% vegan, natural, no supplements.
And by supplementing, what do you mean?
Supplementing protein, supplementing, anything else.
Do animal-based or animal meat-based athletes, do they supplement with protein shakes?
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Right, so what's the difference there then?
The difference there is that, like, what I'm saying is, like, they're still eating meat.
So all bodybuilders, all supreme athletes, they're going to supplement whether they eat animals or don't eat animals, right? So his point is nil.
Being that on top of it, I'm saying if you guys were to take out the protein shakes and take out all the B vitamins and supplements altogether, I don't know the science on this.
And mind you, the only thing that a vegan has to supplement is B12, right? Because it's a bacteria that comes from soil, and if you're washing your vegetables, you're not going to get your B12, right? But most of these animals in factory farms are not eating off of the ground either, right? There's no, like, chickens are in these, whether free range or not, they're in either a small cage or one big cage, but the farmers supplement these animals with B12, right? So you're just, when you consume a chicken, say, you're consuming B12 from their flesh, but they got that B12 into their system from a supplement as well. So why not just cut out the middleman and pop a B12 in your mouth? Is that so hard? Like what, once a week or something? One pill?
But I would say the vegan diet wouldn't be optimal for performance.
So is that based on conjecture or scientific opinion?
This is going to be a little bit of my opinion. Obviously, I'm gonna take that 100%.
Sure.
He's honest.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, I would. No, I'm not gonna be 100% on that.
Let's say instead of the chickens in this place, it's now dogs. Okay, if someone wants to, hang
kill
up
all those dogs and eat them.
Is that okay?
If they own the dogs, then yeah, sure.
And how do you own an animal?
You buy the land, you bought its mom, you bought its dad.
So if I go to a shelter and I rescue a dog from a shelter, say a Labrador, am I then justified to beat that dog and kill them?
Not justified to beat it, but I don't agree with it, but it's your shitty right to do it. It's your, not even right, it's your shitty ability to do it.
So, but you think it's shitty to do that? So is it?
Oh yeah, you shouldn't be beating a dog.
So is it shitty to kill a chicken?
Of course it is.
He knows better.
You admit to be shitty.
Yeah, of course I do, just like you guys do.
In what sense?
Did you guys drive here?
Yes, okay. Interesting. I see where you're going to go.
No, not even that, right?
Appeal to hypocrisy coming on. Did you drive here? Carbon emissions. Do you kill animals through the crops that you eat? Are there small insects and smaller animals that are killed too? Yes, being vegan is not perfect, right? It's about, like, the literal definition is to reduce harming animals wherever practicable or possible, right? So it's not that you avoid all harm. You're gonna harm others in the environment just by sheerly existing, right? That doesn't mean that you don't take the necessary steps to avoid harming others as much as possible, right? It's like if a boat was to capsize and there were 300 people on board, but you could only save 10. You're not going to say, I can't save all 300. I can only save 10, so I'm just not going to save anyone. No, you're going to save those 10 people, right? That's what veganism is about. It's not perfect. It's not about saving all 300 people on the ship that capsized.
go down that road.
Okay.
Do you know how many millions of animals are killed to like? I'm like I need the road. You know what I mean? But like, you know how many millions of animals are killed to make the freeway, or like to make my home, or like to make like that. So what about those animals?
I would advise it's not millions, but I advise that animals do.
It's hundreds of thousands of animals get killed a day on the road.
Right. So veganism
just from even getting run over, right?
So veganism is never going to be perfect.
No,
there's no
of
way
course.
we can live this perfect.
Yeah.
But something like driving is a practical thing that. You know,
well, we could
most of us
walk.
have to do. Can you walk to work every day?
I can. I live close.
Most people can't though. Most people.
No,
don't
but
have
you know,
that
but like, so if you go back to that, people want to have a more complicated job. Why don't we all just be farmers then? And then you'd be okay.
Well, we can all grow our own plants.
That would be awesome.
That's my retirement plan, right?
That would be pretty awesome.
Tiny house, small piece of land, rescue a few animals, grow my own crops. That would be nice. We can't all do that though, can we?
What happens
and like one chicken.
What happens in this place isn't necessary for anyone, right? So it's kind of the comparison's there, but the comparison's very different because just because bad things happen to animals in the pursuit of building freeways doesn't justify what happens in these slaughterhouses.
Oh, okay, no, that is a good point, but like it's one of those things like you don't want to participate in a shitty system, right? This system knowingly kills thousands of animals a day, so wouldn't you think to be like, you know what, maybe we should, guys, let's go Amish and just ride our horse. No, seriously.
But we don't ride horses, vegans either.
No, but like, okay, don't ride horses. Let's go hyper vegan Amish and like put the horse in the back and we carry it kind of thing.
Right.
So like my thing is like, if you're gonna keep going down the line, it's like this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. It's like everything people are wearing here, someone has probably died to get it done. Well, or like children have had to like if you're really gonna keep going down that line, everything we do is participating in a shitty system.
But shouldn't we try?
So kind of an appeal to futility too is where he's going. You know, it's kind of like what I was saying, like because I can't save everyone on the boat that capsized, my actions to reduce harm or to save anybody in that case are it's futile, right? What's the point? He's still going down on that path.
A better world, like why shouldn't we address those systems?
I think
maybe skip forward a little bit. We're at 17 minutes already
I wholeheartedly believe that
on this video.
Use ever.
Wherever possible, because it's about necessity. And back in a day where it was a necessity for us to eat, to hunt, to survive.
So now it's not a necessity.
Exactly. So that's why it's not just.
So what do you say to people in third world countries then who use like animals, you know, as their livelihood? Let's just say.
This is why.
What's your argument there?
Well, I'm not in a third world country. I'm here in Canada, where you and I could very easily not partake in these industries.
Okay.
Always with the deflection, you know. I'm talking to you in America, or I think Canada in this case. I think he mentioned it in his shirt, says Canada. But you're in a first world country. I'm talking to you. Why are you deflecting and talking about someone else in a different circumstance? You know? And it's like if I told tribes and people in third world countries also to go vegan, then would you go vegan then? No, you still wouldn't? Okay, then why bring it up?
So you're not talking about. Okay, no, that's fine. Yeah, that's
the thing is, I'm not going to go to Uganda.
Skip ahead a little bit more.
Person per week. Yeah, there's still one animal too many. There's no need for us to do it at all.
So, but are you trying to impeach on like people's like freedoms to eat animals?
But to be honest, I don't believe it's a freedom to inflict harm and suffering.
Again, personal choice.
That's why, because you don't believe it's a freedom. Okay.
We're getting circular almost at this point. It was at this point while watching it that I was like, oh my God, we're just going in circles here. It's the same argument. He's spitting out the same argument in different ways, and they're being easily refuted each time. And at this time, I'm like fully on Earthling Ed's side here. I mean, he's incredibly intelligent, incredibly kind, incredibly patient. He's using the Socratic method. He's asking questions rather than telling the guy how to think. He's just taking his own ideas, things that he says, and regurgitating them back to him in question form to get a further, deeper explanation, which each time the guy tries to explain, you know, his argument crumbles. So now he's just going in circles and circles. So we're going to skip ahead a little bit more.
And then the next generation would be able to come in and thrive. So like a lot of hunters do that, and they keep their land good so that overpopulation doesn't happen. And then they get that meat and they donate to homeless shelter. They donate to the
talking
military.
about hunters now.
Hundreds of thousands of
Okay, so I remember this now. I remember this guy is taking like the Joe Rogan stance where he's just gonna hunt animals with a bow one day, you know, and like a lot of people say this too, and it's like have you done the math? People who think like that, if you're watching this and you think like that, have you done the math? Do you really think there's enough wild animals out there to feed 8+ billion people on the planet? No, there's not, obviously, because we've created all this infrastructure and these cities and these concrete jungles, and we've killed off most species. There's not just like an abundance of wild animals roaming around for you to shoot with your bow, and only a few people would be able to eat if that was the case. It's just not sustainable or possible. So do the math.
If tomorrow all the hunters stop hunting, hundreds of thousands of people would go hungry.
But that's probably slightly a bit of a hyperbole.
Pure hyperbole.
These farmers or these hunters could use the land that they're shooting on to grow vegetables and plants.
But then they would have to decimate all the animal population there to grow those vegetables, or else they get eaten.
No, not necessarily. But this doesn't justify hunting.
How are you supposed to grow like beans, for example, without decimating the animal population?
Well, the thing, okay, I mean, the reality,
you have to
not
decimate
necessarily, because we're already growing enough food. I think 50% of the food that's grown in North America is thrown and wasted away. So instead of killing deer to feed them, military and homeless, let's just give them all Whole Foods and
oh,
Do
ad?
mushrooms freak
Yeah, an
you
ad.
out? These won't. But it's no wonder shrooms get a bad rap. Word has it, Vikings would
Shrooms shouldn't have a bad rap.
enter a trance-like rage
know.
and go berserk.
Okay. Let's skip this ad. Here we go.
and Target and all these supermarkets that are throwing away the food. Why isn't that being given to the people?
Well, a lot of the time they'll make like jerky food and shit like that. They'll send it over and over. It's more.
Yeah, I mean, if it's counterintuitive, but if the whole world went vegan, you would need less arable land or arid land, however you say it. You would use less land if everybody just ate vegetables, because then these billions and billions of animals that we have to breed into existence and feed, what do they eat? Plants every year. We wouldn't have to grow crops to feed these animals. We eat a lot less than a cow or a pig, right? Or other animals. So the amount of land and the amount of vegetables consumed would actually reduce drastically. And I get it, it's counterintuitive. It doesn't make sense until you really think about it or research it. But that's kind of what he's getting into here. I'm going to skip a little bit. We're at over 20 or like 22 minutes.
Some sort of supplementation going on.
Well, they did a study on vegans and
are
non-vegans.
people on a lot of supplements here? Does anyone take any supplements?
Circular again, the supplement thing.
No, because I've seen the studies for veganism, and the studies are amazing. Their information is great. You get people who are like 300 pounds, heart disease, this and that. They go on a vegan diet for 2 months, and they're like killing it, working out, doing this, doing that. Yeah. But my argument wouldn't be like, I don't really think it's a vegan diet. I just think it's because you got regimented. Okay. And I think you could have got that way being on any regimented diet, because you get some people like
this guy
popping off after 100.
Yeah.
In my research, I could be wrong.
But he's intelligent. He's honest. Right, he's intelligent to a degree.
I would care to disagree, but
I would say they're like hard, like very lean.
I know at some point past the 20-minute mark that we're going to stop at, I know he does promise to Ed to do, I think, 30 days of a vegan trial run. If he did go vegan and he became an activist, this guy right here, because he's so outspoken and he, it does seem that he wants to learn and do his research, he would be an amazing activist. That's what I always say when the trolls come by, when you're doing a cube or you're protesting and someone is bold enough to say something to you and be loud. It's like, don't hate on them so much, because if they went vegan, they would be an amazing activist. An outspoken person like that will stand up for what they know is right. Once they know what they're doing is wrong and they change, once they know better and they do better, right? All right, let's see where we're at.
Vegan and vegetarian, but like they're gonna eat that little piece of meat. They're gonna eat their eggs. They're gonna eat their shit, and they're gonna get their shit in them.
So the point is, you can have a little bit of something. I could smoke like say 2 cigarettes a week, right? Yeah. And the cigarettes.
So he's kind of saying that you need a little bit of meat, like 1% of your diet, to be. It's just silly stuff.
That's bad for you.
Move forward.
People around you. I thought you cared about people now, but like we're the dominant.
A little banter back and forth. They're having fun with each other.
A little bit.
Might makes right once again.
Impose themselves on another, they're justified to do so.
No, that's not right.
But that's what might makes right means.
Yes,
Might's gonna make right for when you're talking about a species.
Okay.
Like look, the reason why we
speciesism
for what's it called, African American people.
Oh wait, what?
We are better than them. Okay.
Right.
We did the research a little bit. Well, we knew that they could contribute to society just as much as we do, if not more in some cases. Okay.
So you're saying the reason we abolished slavery is because African Americans can contribute to society?
We abolished slavery because it was freaking horrible.
Okay, good. Just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah. There you go.
And then, what's it called? The reason that we haven't abolished killing animals is people make a business off of it. We have our lives that are totally entangled with it.
People make a business of exploitation and all different. People
of
make a
course.
business.
So that's like the other video I just did with the guy who had like 2 cows as pets or whatever, and he said he would never eat them, but he eats other animals, and you know, it's only because he has a relationship with them and because he profits off of them. That's kind of what he's saying here. Like, you know, that's how people see dogs in America, anyways. That's why people see dogs as undeserving of having their heads chopped off for a meal. Because we see them as companion animals, right? They can do something for us. They can provide us with friendship, with you know, a reduction in stress when we come home from a hard day at work or something like that. You know, animals or anyone, they don't have to do something for us in order to treat them with kindness and allow them bodily autonomy at the very least. Like, you know, or to go above and beyond about bodily autonomy. I don't have to know you, right? If I see you in trouble on the street or broke down on the side of the highway, you're a stranger to me. But I'm gonna do what I can if I'm able to help you, right? Out of whatever situation it is, and I think most people would, right? Maybe not most, but you know, good people would, right? I would hope that most people would treat others the way that you want to be treated. I would want someone to help me, and when I'm stuck in a bad situation, I don't think anyone has to, you know, provide me with something in order for me to help them out. Human or non-human.
It is not a perfect system, but we've defeated the country.
Let's skip ahead just a little bit. We're getting to the... Oh, there it is. Taste their life. Okay, so...
Good people can do bad things, of course,
right? Of course, yeah.
I'm not saying you're a bad person.
We're right here. This is when I'm all in. I'm like, fully on fire. Like epiphany's going on. I'm like, what is going on? Like there's no moral justification for what I've been doing for 33 years. This is completely insane. And then he asked this question here.
Choices we make, and if we are consistently 3 times a day
and that was
making choices that we don't need to make,
or one time a day,
2 times a day, 3 times a day, 1 time a week, irrelevant, maybe doesn't matter. If we're making that choice that is negatively impacting another when we don't have to, and we simply buy something else, then we have to reflect and look at that and ask ourselves whether or not it's an ethical decision to do. What's more important, taste or life?
What kind of life
Easy
you live in,
for me.
Well, of course,
life of an animal.
Life of an animal.
What's more important, the taste enjoyment you get from chicken, or the life of that chicken?
If you're talking about like my perspective,
for you personally,
I don't eat chicken, but I would say how that chicken tastes.
Okay, so
it's like I don't really care about that chicken. I don't know him.
So you have to have a connection with someone to care about them.
Like, to be honest, like I don't necessarily.
Okay, so right then, I mean, when I was watching this live, right then I was like, man, I do not want to be like this guy, and I am not like this guy, but my actions are saying otherwise. So it's time to stop being a hypocrite and align my actions with my morals. Right? You know, I do care about non-human animals, and I do value their lives over my own sensory taste pleasure. You know, 15 minutes of fleeting taste pleasure, something that I'll forget about, you know, in no time. Their life, their entire existence is worth much more than my pleasure. You know, that's just a sick way to justify your actions, to choose your own pleasure over someone else's suffering and pain. So if you're like me and you agree that choosing someone else's life is more important than your own pleasure, and you're not vegan yet, you know, if you go vegan, you'll feel a little bit more whole, right? You'll feel a little bit, like I said, in line with your beliefs, with the kind-hearted person that you say you are. You know, let your actions show that. Go vegan. I think that's going to be about it.
Care or discare about
see what he says.
Here, care or discare about. I kind of care a little bit more about you now because I'm talking about.
I appreciate that's very kind of you.
Talking to you a bit more. But
a bond, a relationship.
If I had to hold my life out for anyone here,
All right, it's just going to continue. He continues to go with circular arguments for the next, what do we got left? 40, 50, almost 50 minutes left in the video. But you guys get it. It's not rocket science. You know, if you feel that your own pleasure is less important than someone else's suffering and you can avoid causing them that suffering, then why not do so? It's so simple. You're going to eat anyways. Going vegan is an inaction. You're still going to eat. You're still going to buy groceries at the grocery store. So just buy stuff that doesn't cause someone to have their heads chopped off. It's pretty simple to me. I guess not that simple. It took me 33 years, right? But once I took an honest look at it, that's all she wrote. And 3 days after watching this, I stayed up late every night the next like 2-3 days. And I found this whole world of animal rights activists and I realized there were people out there sticking up for these animals and trying to make a change. And so 3 days later, I forced myself to watch a short little 4 or 5 minute video of slaughterhouse footage, like standard legal practice stuff, called 1,000 Eyes by Paul Bashir. So I'll do a reaction video to I'll do a reaction to that video as well, and I'll post that one soon. I'll put a little disclaimer on there, graphic footage, that kind of thing. But hopefully, if you have pre-vegan, non-vegan family or friends, show them this video, show them that video, the one coming up with the slaughterhouse footage. It'll be very short, and maybe it'll be a little bit easier for them to watch something disturbing like that if it's a reaction style video and they're kind of watching it with someone else. So please share it. Share this one. It's free to like, it's free to comment, it's free to subscribe. So please do so. It encourages me. If you're still here, like at the end of a 30-minute video, subscribe already. I take my time out to make these videos in hopes that you will share them and it will affect more people and hopefully save more lives, right? So if you want a vegan world like I do, let's make it happen more quickly. Share this video, drop me a comment, let me know what you want to see in the future, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.